How are you? Good morning, Mr. Mallinson. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. You're right.
Yeah, very good, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be in the spotlight today.
No problem.
If we could just start off by introducing yourself, where you've come from, where you've been, what you do, really.
Okay. Well, my name's Simon Mallinson. I'm MD of Logical Bridge. And a brief potted history of my working life is in about 1996, I started working in IT for the Prescription Pricing Authority. And from then on, I worked in what could be considered big IT. And I worked for the Automobile Association in insurance, Centrica, ICL, Fujitsu. I should say I did have nothing to do with the post office when I was at Fujitsu. Just clear that up for now. So I worked on big contracts. It was very formal IT, but you get to learn about how IT should be done, I guess. And in about 2005, I got the opportunity to go to Berwick and work for a company called Allen Brothers, which are a joinery company, make windows and doors. And that was as IT manager. And I was there for about 7.5 years, putting systems in and generally trying to make the place more efficient. And then in about 2012, I set up Logical Bridge and became the main agent for Calwin software in the UK. We've had a dalliance with some CNC software from Italy, but we don't talk about that anymore. But generally, I run Logical Bridge with my employee Colin, who's my technical manager, and we look after the whole of the UK and support the whole of the UK ourselves. We just get the software from Norway. We don't really rely on them for very much. So that's kind of us, really.
Sure. And if I'm correct, Colin was also at Allen Brothers. So
he was indeed, yes. He was there for, blimey, something like 30 years. Right. He was, at the time of leaving, he was the technical manager. So he designed all the windows, got them all tested, and had been on the shop floor, was in charge of 30 men. So knows a lot about factory efficiency, about shop floor working, about design of windows and doors, technical aspects of anything you want to know about. So yeah, he's a font of information.
Awesome. And so I guess it's very important, obviously you're an expert in software and IT, but having that knowledge between the pair of you on windows and doors, manufacturing processes, etc., is invaluable to make what you do sing, really.
Yeah. IT can be a bit boring. I can understand that. But to bring IT to life, you have to have people who understand how to get the most out of it. So between me and Colin, hopefully, we understand joinery businesses. I should also mention fire doors. We do those as well. But it's important that we understand the business so that when we try to help people use IT in that business, that it's something that they recognize and that they know the numbers about. So our aim generally is to make people's life easier, not harder. I know that sounds weird with IT, but that is generally the aim.
Yeah, so I mean, that's how it should be. Advantages. Give us some. Let's go to the basics of a software solution for not necessarily just your software, but the advantages generally of having a basic software solution that, let's just say, does the basics like a quoting tool, over having none at all. I know that you're a very much a stats man. You do your homework. You know what the return on investment is and how it all works. So if you could just talk over the difference between zero software, i.e. a bit of finger in the air, a bit of Excel spreadsheet, a bit of I just know my industry, I know what it should cost, over running a basic like quoting software. How does that sit?
Well, just if you take out the fact that somebody's not got any real software, and maybe they're doing it in their head and they're just counting joints, or they've got a system whereby they can price something and then get a price to a customer. On top of that, if you use some form of software, you're going to get more consistency because it's going to remember the rules. Your presentation's probably going to be better because it's going to be able to print out something. It should be able to print a scale drawing of the window that you want to show the customer, which shows a lot of information, and they know a lot more about what they're going to get. The specification can be automatically totted up for you. You get to record what you've done, so you can go back to something and it will remain consistent. You de-risk yourself because you put the rules into the software instead of holding them in your head, which means that if you want to go and visit a site and get somebody else to run a quote for you, you can, because the rules are in the software, not in your head. And it's quicker, there are less errors, and you can look over it back. You can look back over it and do some analysis. So just generally using software gives those advantages.
Sure.
Yeah. If we want to talk about timings, some raw times, you might want to, this is just off the top, well, not off the top of my head, but generally in the industry, it might take you, let's say it takes you 40 minutes to do a quote if you're not using a computer system.
When you say a quote, Simon, clarify like what we're talking like.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, maybe we're talking about a house with maybe 8 to 10 windows and a set of doors, for example.
Right. So 40 minutes, yeah.
Do a quote. It might take you 40 minutes. And with some software, the equivalent time probably would be about 8 minutes, which means that if you're doing maybe 40 quotes a month, you're looking in the region of 21 hours there, 21 hours saving. And if you took that at minimum wage, that's still £256. So it's a significant amount of time and a significant amount of value.
Sure. And most people that are doing the quotes in a small to medium sized business are not on minimum wage. Well, shouldn't be, because it's normally someone quite high up the chain.
Yes, exactly, because it's a skilled job.
So apart from the 21 hours in monetary value that you've saved, so let's say, I've got to get my calculator for this, but let's say 21 hours and you're talking, let's say it's not minimum wage and you're paying 25 quid, there's 525 quid monetary gain.
Yep.
But also what else can be done in that 21 hours that you've saved at a higher level, i.e. the MD or a manager position, they could be concentrating that 21 hours in getting new work in.
Exactly.
Which is a much bigger value than 525 quid, let's be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I gave you 21 hours free every month, what would you do with it? Then people would say I'd earn a lot more money.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is just the bare basics of a quoting tool, really, we're talking about. So what about, obviously we could talk about this all day, but let's keep it brief. So how far advanced can that software go? What else can it do for you, or a software? Mm-hmm. And what is the sort of return on investment we're talking, like time-wise, and what else can it do for the business other than just quoting?
Well, once you get past the sales aspect, you can do quoting, obviously. You can then progress that into an order and manage your orders. You can then have your cutting lists sorted for you, all of your manufacturing reporting. You can drive efficiency through that reporting. So if you get a really good set of factory documentation out to the factory, the aim would be to get the right information in front of the right person so that they don't have to amend anything at all. So that immediately means that they can be hands-on without doing any amendments, and they know what's coming and they know what to do. That in itself generally would take, if you said, if I could give you an extra 15 minutes a day per man, then you're almost at 10% efficiency savings on the shop floor. And we'll probably go into an example of that later. But you've got the likes of purchasing. So you design a window. You want to know what hardware to buy, how many locks, how many bags, how many hinges, what color, blah, blah, blah. All of that can be done very, very quickly with software. Press of a button, effectively. So your efficiencies are into capacity for your factory, purchasing, purchase order management, factory paperwork, dispatch, and invoice paperwork. So all of those things that take a bit of time are all saved, and the numbers for the quotes start to snowball, and all of a sudden you're not saving 20 hours, you're saving 30, 40, 50, 60 hours a month. And all of a sudden it's full-time employee time. So if you're a joinery company that's trying to grow, then software is going to take the place of that new employee that you're going to have to pay £25,000 for. Or if you want to be just save money on efficiency, then software is going to recoup its value pretty much in the first year on labor efficiency. Because if you're a manufacturer, all of your money is going to be saved in efficiency, really.
Yeah, and if you think about it in the raw bones, like if you've got a guy, if your office is upstairs, I don't know, a lot of joinery companies are, and you've got your shop floor downstairs, you've got your workshop manager, you haven't given them the right information. How many times a week or a day or whatever you want to class it as, does he have to run upstairs to say, boss, there's this missing, or can you just clarify this? And if you top up how many times you're running up and down the stairs,
yeah,
put it in layman's terms, how many minutes that is a week, if you're paying for that time, right? So you're the boss, you're paying him to run up and down the stairs. Really, it's your own fault because you haven't given him the right information in the first place. But again, it equates to pound notes, but it also equates to how much more could be going out the door if he wasn't running up and down the stairs every couple of hours.
Yes, exactly. Well, the ultimate aim is to consistently, if you're making 10 windows a day, the ultimate aim is to make 11 windows a day. And that's where you start winning.
Yeah. Okay. So also in the software, you can look at what products are the most profitable. So because at the moment, obviously, if you've got no software, there's very much finger in the air time. So just quickly fly over that, and then we'll give some number examples, and then we'll go back to the floor.
Sure. So if you're quoting out of some software, then generally it will take all of the materials that you're using and cost them correctly, and then hopefully take some sort of labor element of it as well, so that you're building up a price through known elements of materials, known elements of labor, put them together and sell it. Now, if you then look back, say you've had some software for a year, and you look back over all of the windows and doors that you've sold, you can look at the margin for each one and say, okay, my business seems to make money on this type of product. We get a better margin on this product, and we don't get a very good margin on this product. So strategy-wise, as a business, it would make sense for me to try and do more of the stuff that makes more margin and less of the stuff that makes less margin. So when it comes to, should I buy a CNC? Okay, it's going to cost me £350,000 for a CNC. Is that investment going to make me more of the windows that are profitable or more of the windows that are not profitable? And all of a sudden, you can justify your expense. And that follows through to, do I need more people on the shop floor because I'm making the right product? And it aids expansion, but it also aids profitability through expansion, not just being busy fools, as we used to say.
Yeah, and gives you a scientific approach to making your decisions rather than, well, I think we need this person, or I think we need that machine. You've got the data to study. If you choose not to study it, well, then what can you say?
And it's that element of it allows you to go to a company and say, I'd like you to loan me £200,000 because here's my strategy, and look at the profit margins, look at the numbers. This is what I'm going to do, and it's proven in the past, so it's just a case of rubber stamping it.
Sure. Okay. So quickly give us some number examples of what the return on investment, how it all works, and the time saved, etc.
So I'll do a factory example. So let's just say we've got a business which is running at £1.5 million a year, an average, let's say average business. If you're, I'm going to talk a few numbers here, but ignore them if you don't like numbers. But my general setup for this would be a GM1 of 65%, GM2 of 35%. Now, the labour cost for that £1.5 million business would probably be around £450,000 a year. Now, if we can get 10% efficiency out of that labour cost, then that means that we're going to save £45,000. Now, you're not paying for any more people, you're putting more windows out, so your turnover goes up. But basically, it's profit of £45,000 by being more efficient. If we were to say, okay, I could just sell more instead of that, how much would you have to sell on a £1.5 million business? It would be £450,000 worth of sales. So you can either save 10% on your workforce, or you can go and get nearly a third more sales. And I can imagine it's the answer to which one you would prefer to do is hopefully the one about being more efficient. So the numbers are stark. And if you put that £45,000 to work and actually made more windows, the answer is £116,000 more profit in a year.
That's mad. And by not employing any more people, not investing in any more machines, just by literally driving that efficiency, yeah, it speaks volumes.
It's yeah, the numbers are there. It focus on efficiency and have a tool to make you more efficient, and the numbers are there.
And so to get to that, let's say the very basic efficiency, like the 45,000 extra, saves you going out trying to get £450,000 more sales.
Yep.
And you've just made that money by just working smarter, basically. How much would a software solution from, obviously you can only speak for Calvin at this point, I'm sure. How much would that cost? Let's base it around a Lignum system. How much would that actually cost you as an outlay to achieve that?
We've got basically we can do the full manufacturing suite for the Lignum window through the Joinery network, through the cloud for £700 a month within a one-off payment of £2,500 to set it all up.
So what's that a year?
That's 8,400.
8,400 quid.
Less than a full-time employee, less than half a full-time employee.
Yeah. And you're getting back the 45.
You've got the potential. You've got the potential for all of your quoting saving, all of your purchasing, reducing stock, shop floor management, dispatch and invoice for £700 a month.
Perfect. I think we will leave it there, and hopefully people will come and have a chat with you when we go back to the floor.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Simon. Cheers.